Well, Nick, we did get ours.
Yes.
We got them right here.
Thanks to Congresswoman Debbie Dingell, who always brings us a special delivery, because I wasn't sure Nick was actually going to deliver for us.
I think we saw him giving all of them away.
Let me see.
Is what happened.
Yes. Hi.
Good morning.
Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for the special delivery.
Day.
This has really become a family tradition. I mean, it always has been, but you love this, don't you?
Well, John started doing it decades ago, and I thought it was important to continue it. Rituals and traditions matter. It's one generation to the next, and yeah, it's something I did want to continue because we need to remind ourselves of community and those important traditions.
Yeah. Absolutely. So you have a new district.
I have a new district.
You know, adapting to the focus you now have in the Ann Arbor area, some of the downriver communities. And
Still have downriver, picked up Western Wayne. I still have 60+% of the district that I used to have. I'm meeting lots of new people, and there are a lot of issues on people's minds, so we pull together as community.
So what are you working on?
Well, there's a lot to work on.
Boy,
you
sure do have a lot.
I mean, we'll start with international relations. The president's in Poland today, so it's a good day. I hope he's having paczkis while he's there. The war in Ukraine is obviously something that we're all concerned about. But, you know, we had a train derailment in Van Buren last week, which thankfully did not have the implications that we had in Ohio, but we cannot continue to have those. That's one. Making sure that everybody's got clean and safe water. It should not be the issue. It continues to be. That's one of my top issues. And I could keep going, protecting the auto industry.
I'm glad you brought that up. Some people have drawn that kind of inference from what's happening in Ukraine. Why are we spending so much there and not taking care of what's happening in Ohio? Is that something that is it apples and oranges?
We have to do both.
Yeah.
That's what we have to do. It's not one or the other. The war in Ukraine is a war for democracy everywhere. People need to be paying attention that China is giving hidden support to Russia right now. I want this country safe. Our national security always has to be at the forefront, and I hope we can do it in diplomacy and avoid war anywhere near us. But at the same time, we need to be investing in, you know, the infrastructure bill we did is going to repair our roads and bridges and water, but train tracks, those need to be fixed too.
Yeah.
And it seems like an infrastructure problem that many of us weren't aware of until we're starting to see these train derailments become more common.
And we need to make the carriers more responsible too. By the way, train track was owned by a different company than the train itself. They've got to self-police themselves. We've got to hold them accountable.
We saw a lot of students at the Capitol last few days protesting gun violence, and they really filled out there yesterday, and we've heard a lot of Michigan State students talking about it. And the number one question to lawmakers is, what are you going to do to protect kids in schools?
So I do believe that our Michigan State legislature will pass legislation. I've talked to a lot of them, and I think it'll get done in the next few weeks. At the federal level, I want to say to everybody watching, we need to keep making your voices heard. We can't give up. We can't say it'll never happen. It'll happen if we stay at it. And what happened at Michigan State, I thought Parkland would finally be it, the young people. How many mass shootings have we already had this year? It's well into the 70s.
More than we've had days.
More than we've had days. So we need to do something. I'm never going to stop.
Yeah.
Well, certainly here in Michigan, I mean, Michigan State came just a little year over us going through this at Oxford. And so there is this major push to get legislators to do something. Why is it so difficult in Washington?
Well, I mean, one person can stop a vote in the Senate. I mean, I've been trying to just close a loophole so if someone's been convicted of attacking someone in domestic abuse with a gun, they can't have a gun. That didn't even make that slim gun bill that we got done last year. Look, I was married to John Dingell. He was, anybody who doesn't know who he was a NRA board member before the NRA went a little off the, but we got to do something.
We've got about 30 seconds, but to get a lot of that done, what you're talking about also takes bipartisanship, and we see, you know, Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about states need to secede from the union. The state GOP elects Christina Caramo, who's also got some extremist views. Not that the Democratic Party doesn't have some extremism as well, but how hard is it in today's world to get that bipartisanship?
Let me tell you who I am. I walk across and sit in that Republican side every time we're in. I work with Republicans across the aisle. Even though I went viral with Marjorie Taylor Greene, we've actually said hello to each other in the last few weeks. You got to keep working across the aisle. You got to work with each other because you're not going to get something done if you don't.
Exactly.
We see a lot of the divisiveness kind of play out in some of its
It gets
theater.
the news. You all pay attention to that.
But what is really happening? That
Well, look,
face-to-face interaction.
I can't say that we don't have far right and far left, but I do believe that there are a lot of people that are talking to each other, trying to get to know each other, trying to find that common ground.
Yeah, it almost feels like it's two versions of each party sometimes, like you have four total, but it's always. But so, thank you so much for stopping by today.
It's tradition.
We always appreciate the gifts. That's the newsroom certainly going to appreciate
Yes,
that.
thank you, and thank for all your years of working for us here in Michigan. We appreciate
We got
all
to keep
you do.
doing it. Thank you for what you do. You're a very important part of our democracy. Telling the news, accurate news.
Great to
Thank
see
you.
you, Debbie.